Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. We're going to do a follow-up to this video right here. It was about how to deal with a carjacker. It got a lot of comments, a lot of very colorful comments. Thank you very much. And so there was a lot of really intelligent comments that came in, and I kind of decided, well, if I gave you guys all a different scenario, how might you handle this one? So we're going to go back, we're going to take a look at the crime of carjacking again. We're going to talk about some of the basic rules of engagement, the rules of self-defense, when we can use force and things like that. I'm going to let you guys decide, what do you think should or should not happen. So today, let's all educate ourselves here and let's spend a few minutes and talk about, you're being carjacked, what would you do? Okay, so like I said, we're doing a follow-up to this video. We're talking about the crime of carjacking. I wonder why. The reason is because there's way too much of it going on in the United States right now, and there's a lot of you lawful and responsible folks out there who could be subject to, or victimized by this crime. Normally we would talk about a hypothetical, but lately we've been using real-life examples. So without further ado, let's show you today's example. Okay, we're going to go ahead and stop the video at this point because I want us all to kind of realize the situation that this driver is in. The car in front of him is now blocking their ability to go down the ramp and get on the freeway. Presumably, if they try to back up at this point, they're going to be going the wrong way on a one-way street. And now you have individuals not only emptying out of the car, but rather rapidly moving towards your car. There is no doubt in anyone's mind that something serious is about to occur. At the very least, we're probably dealing with a carjacking. We could be dealing with something far worse. Now, with that in mind, let's go back over our general rules, okay? So we understand that. When it comes to using any kind of force in self-defense, any kind of force, whether it's a fist or a firearm, all force we use has to be necessary, it has to be reasonable, both objectively and subjectively, and then it needs to be proportional, okay? And then the rule of law, generally speaking, granted every state could have little nuances, which is why you need to check with local counsel, but generally speaking, there are 4 instances in which we can use lethal force. That is, you are in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury, someone else in your presence is in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury, a felony is being committed upon your person, or a felony is being committed inside your home. Now, when it comes to property, we cannot use deadly force in most states to defend only property, because when we take a look at our reasons for which we can use deadly force, we see that it is always a human being that must be in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury. However, and this is the big however, this has nothing to do with a crime against your property. Oh, they may be wanting to steal your car, but this is a robbery. As a matter of fact, in Washington State, where I practice, we don't even have a carjacking statute. Many states don't have carjacking as a crime because it's the crime of robbery. Anytime you forcefully take property from another person, either through the use of violence or the threatened use of violence, that is a robbery, that is a violent felony, that is a serious violent felony, and it is a felony that's being committed upon your person. This is no different than someone walked up to you, put a gun in your face, and demanded your wallet and watch. This is exactly the same crime, it's just the item that's being stolen is what's different. But let us also remember that a carjacking is probably the best case scenario. This could be a kidnapping. This could be an attempted sexual assault. This could be an attempted murder. And no matter how you cut it, this driver is absolutely, positively in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury. They are about to have a very serious felony committed upon their person. And if there are any passengers in the car, those would be people in the driver's presence who are also in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury. So the driver at this point has 3 legal justifications to use lethal force. Now, taking you back to this scenario right here, if you're the driver, what would you do? You could, 1, stop and attempt to retreat. Now that, of course, would require you to back the car, back a ramp, which is one way the other direction. God only knows if there's another car back there. It could create all sorts of risk. Also remember that in most states you are under no duty to retreat, but sometimes retreat is a very, very good idea if it can be done. Now, another option is you could get out of the car and go complete John Wick on them. So, hey, listen, if you're armed and you're really good, you can get out there and make a movie scene and mow them all down and pray to God that the law says that that was a lawful use of lethal force, which in all likelihood it would. But let us also remember that at this point it would be 4-on-1 at the very least, so you better be pretty good. Now, you could run them over like it's Death Race 2000 all over again. And of course, we've seen this video right here where that is exactly what the driver did. You could get out and surrender your car and get away, which would absolutely be the dumbest thing you could do, because I don't believe that they're trying to just get the car. I believe that they're probably up to things a lot more nefarious. And then, of course, you would be removing yourself from the cover of the car when you do that, and that is likely to create even more problems. Or you could just do this. So what we see here is a driver with very good situational awareness. All of the individuals were out of the car. They were heading back there. Now, at one point, the driver clearly does try to drive to the right side of the roadway, and there are a couple of would-be robbers right there. I don't know whether the driver was trying to strike them, run them over, or was he just trying to get past the parked car in the middle of the roadway, which, as we see right here, the driver does make it past and gets a door prize along the way. This is a perfect example of a driver who both used force to defend himself and also was able to retreat or flee from the scene. The force used here is actually being used to complete the flight from the dangerous situation, and if any of the perpetrators just so happen to get in the way, this is an absolute lawful use of force. There's a question as to whether or not it is even a use of force, or is this an attempt to retreat. But even if the jury found that this was an intentional use of force, there is not one, there is not two, but there are at least 3 reasons for which this driver could actually use lethal force. Listen, you may have more questions about this or anything else. I'd be really interested in finding out what you guys would have done when you get to the bottom of the ramp. Would you have done anything different than what this driver did? In the meantime, if you got any questions about this stuff or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. If you don't, that's okay. That information is also right down there in the description box. Now, in the meantime, let's everyone remember that part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay safe.